This might be the best possible time to be a cozy gamer, as the next few months are going to be absolutely insane. As not only do we have just over a month to one of the biggest cozy gaming showcases of the year, we've also got a ton of cozy gaming news to cover, and if that's not enough, the next few months will see some of the biggest upcoming cozy games being released. Although some of these games do come with a little bit of a warning on the side before you get excited for them, so make sure to stay tuned till the end. So first up, let's talk about the Wholesome Direct, as we've just been told it's going to be coming out on June 7th. Now, if you've never heard of the Wholesome Game Showcase before, then this is essentially a Cozy Game Direct. And this is a showcase that cozy game developers hold all of their news for. So not only will you expect to see some release dates for some of the most anticipated games, but we can also expect to see some brand new announcements to get excited for. And the best part is, the Wholesome Direct is actually a part of Summer Games Fest, which will be going on for the entire weekend. So we are going to be overflowing with new games to look forward to. Next up, let's talk about the Palia update, as we got news that Palia will be receiving its biggest update ever on May 13th, alongside the release of the game on PlayStation 5 and Xbox. Now, this update will include a brand new area called the Elderwood, which is an ancient overgrown forest that you can not only run around but climb as well. And this will be filled with brand new creatures and fish, and also some much needed story quests. Now, we haven't been given a ton of information on this update so far, but I really hope it's a big one. I've personally been finding myself logging into Palia less and less over time, as I've honestly just run out of things to do. I also really hope that this addresses some of the performance issues on the Switch. We're also waiting on some news from the Palia team about what on earth is happening about the Switch 2 release. If you didn't know, they appear on Nintendo's list of games that are going to have issues with the new console, which is honestly such a shame, as the Switch version doesn't run well, and I feel like they could really utilize the extra power. Next up, let's talk about a brand new cozy game that's just been announced, and the big brand new Nintendo Switch update. But before we do that, I just want to thank today's sponsor, Merge Gardens. This is a game all about building your dream garden, and you do this by merging together trees, plants, and butterflies, all of the same types, that then upgrades them into a newer and better version. Now, this is a game of a couple of different parts, as not only do you have your own garden to build and grow, there's also a puzzle solving element to it, with different levels that get progressively harder as you go on, and there's even a story that sees you go about solving a mystery as well. For me, the most satisfying part by far is being able to clean and tidy up the garden and unlock brand new areas. And I like the fact that even if you are stuck on a particular puzzle and you can't get past it, while you try and figure that out, you can still tend to your garden and have plenty to do. This is the perfect game to take with me on the go, whether I'm traveling or just standing in line in a queue, as this is a great game to play for either 5 minutes or longer if you've got the time. And if you're interested, you can download Merge Gardens in the link down below. Next, let's talk about Starsand Island, a newly announced life and farming sim coming to not only PC, but also consoles as well, including the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is a game all about starting a brand new life on the tranquillic island of Starsand, an island filled with capybaras, beautiful scenery, and even a mystical moonlit forest to explore. And even though this is just another farming and life sim coming out in 2025, there are a few things that make this stand out. First of all, you have the beautiful visuals, and I really do like the look of this, although it does make me a little bit worried about how the Switch port for this is actually going to look. The island itself also seems to be pretty large, and they say there's even ancient ruins to explore filled with rare treasure that you're going to have to fight for. Now, as of right now, we don't really have a release date. It just says end of 2025 for the PC version, with consoles set for a later date. I'm excited to learn more about this game to truly see what makes it stand out compared to all of the other farming and life sims, but I will say I am a little bit surprised this is coming to the Switch over the Switch 2. I guess we're just going to have to see how it runs. Next, let's talk about Dinkum. Now, if you don't know Dinkum, this is the Australian-inspired life sim that released fully out of early access just last week. Now, this is a fantastic game that I've spent a lot of time in and had a lot of fun playing. But one thing you might not know is that alongside the full release came a really exciting announcement. And that's the news that Dinkum will no longer be a PC exclusive. The announcement in their Discord reads that they will be bringing the game to more platforms beyond the PC, and that they hope to deliver some exciting news about the release of Dinkum for one of the popular gaming consoles later this year. Now, because of who I am as a person, I'm gonna manifest and hope that we will be getting it on either the Switch or, more realistically, the Switch 2, as I personally think this is the perfect game to play in bed. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait for the full announcement, maybe in the Wholesome Direct, to figure out which console it's coming to. Next, let's talk about the brand new Nintendo Switch update that's effectively given us a teaser for the Switch 2 a month before release. Now, if you turned on your Nintendo Switch today, you might have seen that there is a brand new software update, and it's got your Switch looking a little bit different. And that's because they've added a brand new feature called the Virtual Game Card. And if you remember back to the Nintendo Direct, this is a feature they talked about that allows you to share your digital games with anyone in your family on the Nintendo Switch. Effectively meaning that you don't have to buy physical games anymore to share your gaming library. Ahead of the Switch 2's launch, they've also added a way to transfer your save data to the Switch 2. And don't worry if you're going to lose access to your Nintendo Switch before the Switch 2 launches. They've given you an option to upload it to the server so you still won't lose your save data. The other big feature that's added on the homepage is the Game Share button, and this will allow you to accept a Game Share invitation from a Nintendo Switch 2 user with compatible games. We already know one of those games is going to be Split Fiction, so effectively the person with the Switch 2 can boot up Split Fiction, click Game Share, and then the person on the Switch can click this button right here to then join their game. So far, we already know of a handful of games that are going to use this feature, but it will be exciting to see which new releases make use of this too. And in case you're wondering, with this massive Nintendo Switch update, no, they did not fix the eShop. It's still super laggy and super frustrating. Next, let's talk about some of the upcoming cozy games over the next couple of months, as it is a busy time. The first brand new game announcement we have is 2 Pixelia. Now, this is a brand new live sim hitting the PC on May 1st. But this is also set to be coming to the Nintendo Switch sometime later down the line. And this looks to be equal parts cute, but also chaotic, as this is a game that will see you try and work your way to the top in whatever way you want to, be it as a musician, a model, or even the president. And this looks to have a little bit of everything inside of it, as you can cook, compose your own music, even start fights and drive cars all around the world. And the way it's described in Steam makes this look to be an incredibly open-ended live sim. So I'm excited to see just what the limits are to this. But I also hope we're going to get some news soon about when to expect this on the Switch, or at this point even the Switch 2. The next game I want to talk about is Little Sim World. Now, I have no idea how I've never spoken about this game before, seeing as it's a live sim set in London, but we're going to fix that right now. Now, this is releasing in early access on PC only, also on May 1st. But I truly hope if the game does well enough and there's enough demand for it, this will also be coming to the Switch. So be sure to let the developers know in the comments if you want to see it. Now, I was lucky enough to play a few hours of this already, and I had a great time with what I saw so far. This is sort of reminiscent of Sims gameplay, but you're in charge of just one character instead of a bunch of them. And you're essentially just in charge of their entire life. You need to make sure they're happy, well-fed and clean, but you also need to make sure they have enough money to pay their bills. As even though this is a pretend version of London, the bills are still not cheap. It's then up to you to decide how to spend your days. You can either send your character off to do various jobs. There's also a ton of quests from the townspeople to keep you occupied, or you can go about the town and either fish or look for items to sell. Now, right now, I don't exactly know how many hours of content you can expect from early access, but this is definitely a game that I'll be keeping a close eye on, as I feel like it has a ton of potential. Next up is one of the biggest releases of the year, and that's Fantasy Life. And this is coming May 21st. Now, I think this is the perfect time to remind people that I am not an advocate for pre-ordering games. If you like the look of it, wishlist it and wait for reviews before you decide if you're going to buy it. Especially if you're looking at buying Fantasy Life on the Nintendo Switch. But if you didn't already know, Fantasy Life is keeping on the trend of today's video and is a live sim with an entire story going alongside of it. As this will see you travel between the island that thrived over 1,000 years ago and the present day to try and unravel the mystery of its downfall. And there's a few things I'm really looking forward to in particular with this. First of all, you get to create your very own town, allowing you to not only terraform the island, but also decorate and place buildings as well. But I also look forward to the system that they call lives, which is the equivalent of jobs. And in this, there's 14 different ones to pick from, allowing you to do anything from cooking, crafting, fighting monsters, to even farming. Now, there are a few things I think you do need to know before you consider buying this, and the reasons why I say not to pre-order. The first reason is, as of right now, this is really the only trailer where we've got to see a good look at how this plays on the Switch. And I think it's worth bearing in mind that this is a short trailer with cherry-picked gameplay moments. So there is a chance that in other areas of the game and the map, the gameplay could look a little bit rougher than this. The Nintendo Switch Digital Deluxe version is also the same price as all the other consoles. The only catch is, on the Switch, you won't be able to play the game 3 days early if you purchase this version, unlike every other console. And in case you're looking for it, just a reminder, there will be no physical release in the West for Fantasy Life. So if you do want one, you'll have to order it from Japan. And even though they are trying their hardest to convince you to pre-order the game, even giving you an item which will give you bonus XP when you play the game, I still very much think this is something you'll want to wait to see reviews of. It's also worth mentioning at this point that as of right now, we have no confirmation about what's going on for the Switch 2. I assume it's going to be playable, but whether there's going to be a Switch 2 version coming out, that we don't know. This is a game I truly hope lives up to all of our expectations, as I think if they do it right, it could be fantastic. Next up, we have Duck Detective: The Ghost of Glamping, which is coming out May 22nd on both PC and the Nintendo Switch. And this sees you play as the depressed and recently divorced duck who must try and quack the case. I can't believe this game has got me saying that. Now, Duck Detective is actually a series, but if you're new to them, then this will see you interview suspects, inspect evidence, and try to deduce the truth in a mystery. Now, even though these games are typically short, around the 2 to 3 hour mark, they are quite a lot of fun and are fully voice acted. And effectively, the way it works is you'll walk around and talk to each of the different suspects and find clues. And then in your journal, you'll kind of play a game of fill in the blanks with everything that you know to try and figure out what's going on. Next up, we have Pixelshire, which is coming to PC on May 8th and Nintendo Switch hopefully sometime soon. And this is described as being a unique RPG sandbox all about exploration, town building, and combat. And this starts you off by being washed up on the beach of Arcadia, a vast continent filled with enchanted landscapes and hidden treasure. And as per normal, after being washed up, you decide to start a brand new life here. Now, this has a lot of your typical farming sim stuff inside of it. Now, this lets you do a lot of your typical farming sim stuff, but one thing I do really enjoy is the fact that there's a point to befriending the locals, as each one can teach you a brand new skill, from animal care, forestry, to mining, and so much more. You'll also be able to build up the town for yourself, as you're in charge of placing and building homes for the community. But it's not as simple as just placing buildings wherever you want to, as you're going to have to take into account the townspeople's preferences and try to make each of them as happy as possible. I do enjoy the fact that we have a lot of these farming sim adjacent games coming out at the moment, where you can do farming sim stuff inside of them, but there's also so much more to the game. I just hope we hear some news about the Switch version sometime soon. Next, let's talk about June 5th, because this is going to be a ridiculous day, as not only do we have the Nintendo Switch 2 releasing, but alongside of that is also the release of Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma on PC, Nintendo Switch, and Switch 2. Now there's a few things that are really changing up about the Rune Factory series with this game. First of all, this is a Rune Factory game that's focused on dancing instead of farming, with new abilities and new weapons to go alongside of it. Now this game takes place in a land called Azuma, where the town itself has been destroyed, and alongside of it, so has the villagers' hope. And it's up to you to use your newly found dance powers to fight against the corruption spreading out throughout the land and bring hope and life back to it. Now this does have friendship and romance mechanics like the previous Rune Factory games, as you'll also be able to rebuild the village for yourself as well. Now I will say this game is definitely up there in price, especially if you're looking to buy the Switch 2 version. It's also worth noting that even though the Nintendo Switch 2 version is more expensive, we're yet to see a dedicated trailer to really see the difference between the Switch and the Switch 2 version. One thing that was interesting on their FAQ about the game though is the fact that the Nintendo Switch 2 cartridge will actually work in the Nintendo Switch. And so far I think this is the only game that says that. But I'm definitely very excited to finally get to play this. Then on June 17th, we have Date Everything. This is another game that has been delayed a couple of times, but I'm still looking forward to it, as this looks to be an absolutely wacky dating sim that does exactly what it says on the title, as it will allow you to date absolutely everything. You see, after losing your job to AI, you get sent some magical glasses, and this will allow you to see all of the objects, including the text box on your screen, as dateable characters. And despite the fact that there are over 100 characters in the game, it is still fully voice acted. And this is looking to be quite a big game as well, as each of the dateable characters have at least 3 endings. My only hope with this is that the content doesn't get old fast, but I guess we don't have long to wait and find out. Next up is Tamagotchi Plaza on June 27th. And this game right here is the reason why I'm ordering a Tamagotchi uni as a 30-year-old woman. As this sees you try and turn your town into a lively place to try and welcome in the festival. Now this is the latest game in their Corner Shop series, so it will feature 12 different shops around the plaza for you to go and work inside. And this includes shops like an afternoon tea shop, a dentist, to even a glasses store. And each of the shops that you go into will have their own mini games and unique gameplay for you to enjoy. And they've also said that there's going to be co-op mini games as well. I have been desperately looking for shop sims on the Nintendo Switch, so I'm so happy we don't have to wait long to get my hands on one. That's it for your cozy gaming news for the month, but expect there to be so much more after the Wholesome Direct. Oh, and by the way, if you want to see a first look at the Nintendo Switch 2, click this video here.